Hello everyone, IMS welcomes you all to our webinar series, the bschool Insider, all you need to know about your dream school, and I am Kalyani Majumdar, your host for this webinar. So today in the bschool Insider, our topic is ISB, Campus Life, Academics and Placements. And attend this webinar and find out all about the journey of the 5 panelists who have joined us today from ISB. We have tips on PI and test prep, selection process at ISB, why choose ISB, Mohali or Hyderabad campus, is there any difference, and more. And so let's welcome our panelists today. We have Daksh Mitra. He is PGP 2022. He is a Global Engagement Manager at HCL. We have Tushar Mohan. He is also PGP 2022. He's Associate General Manager at Lodha Group. We have Ashish Malla. He's PGP 2022, Chief of Staff, Emeritus. We have Anirudh Murarka. He's a current student and he's from PGP 2023. And we have Ritika Zatakia. She is PGP 2020. She's a product manager at Epimola Maersk. So thank you so much for being here for this webinar and welcome all of you. So let's start from your test prep selection process tips. So tell us about your test prep experience. Like how much did you guys score? How many months did you prepare for? And was there anything in particular you guys did to get success? Also, how many years of work experience you all had and which industries did you belong to before pursuing MBA from ISB? Daksh, you can start.
Thanks, Kalani. Glad to be here. So happy to be here. And good morning, everyone. All the attendees who've joined us today. Firstly, thanks for the introduction, but also to add to what Kalyani told you about me, I have also worked with IMS before.
Yes.
So for me, it's kind of come back a full circle for me. I was working with IMS for the last 6 years before joining ISB in the position of undergraduate business head in Mumbai region. So a great time spent there, and I decided to do my MBA some time ago, and ISB was my top option because I wanted to do a 1-year MBA, and that too in India. I've always known that ISB has the best rated 1-year MBA program in India. You can go, take Financial Times MBA rankings or any other rankings for that matter. It's been a great journey. For talking specifically about the test prep, you could say I was one of the fewer people who took the GRE test. So instead of GMAT, I went for the GRE. My score in that was 326 on 340. I still meet a lot of people who are not aware that ISB and many other B schools in India and abroad do accept GRE also.
Yeah,
so you can go for it as much. And preparation was say around 2 months. I did it mostly on my own, with some help from my mentors, from my colleagues that I knew earlier. So yeah, that was my experience.
Yeah, and you did not tell us about that, you have a corporate law background. That's something
Yeah.
Yes, we
Yes,
remember
yes.
at IMS, we remember, but yeah, yeah, okay. All right, next Ashish, and then Tushar, then Anirudh. Okay, Ritika has also joined. Hi, Ritika. So you can take the last. So yeah, let's Ashish. Yeah, you go.
Right. Thanks, Kalyani. So basically, I have about 8 years of experience. So I'm pretty sure, maybe besides Ritika, she's completed the MBA a little earlier.
Yeah.
I'm the oldest one of the lot. So I worked at 6 years in the edtech space prior to ISB. And that's in fact where I'm going to head to post this as well. Look, I think even for me, it was quite simple because I have more experience. I was looking at a 1-year MBA and I felt ISB was the best choice for me by far because I also wanted to come back and work in India, right? So it automatically became my first choice. Now, when it comes to test prep, I think just consistency matters. So what I did, for instance, is I should just go to mba.com and download all the extra practice sets that you have. There are multiple packs of exams that you can give. Just practice as much as you can with the GMAT content. So that's quite important to kind of score well. Now, also with your experience, the GMAT score becomes very relative. So I've got a 680. I'm sure other people on the panel have better GMAT scores. So it all depends upon the kind of experience you have, because your holistic profile that kind of matters at the end of the day for ISB.
Right.
Did you have something else you asked as well? I'm sorry, you mentioned 2-3 things.
Yeah, what all you've been doing before pursuing an ISB?
Yeah,
Can you
so
give more?
I worked in the edtech space. So I think you also mentioned the PI aspect. So maybe I can just talk
Yes,
about
yeah. So
that.
we'll take it in parts. So let's first, move with the preparation bit, and then we can take the PI as well.
Sure,
Yeah,
I think that's
Tushar.
it for now then.
Yeah, Tushar.
Good morning, everyone. Prior to ISB, I was working with a consulting firm for about 3 years. And the year after that, I was working with a co-working startup.
Okay.
When I decided to go for an MBA, unlike Ashish and Daksh, I was actually also evaluating the 2-year PGP courses at the IIMs. So I was preparing for CAT and GMAT and both at the same time while working too. So my GMAT score was 740. That was majorly attributed to my CAT prep and the multiple attempts that I had taken in the past.
If you can just talk a little bit about your test prep and test prep, as well as what how long were you working before pursuing an MBA from ISB, and which industry are you from now? Of course, you were at AP Moller, but before that, and now you're a product manager. So yeah, so we'll of course get around all that in a bit, but yeah, you can just tell a little bit, like briefly, about your test prep, and yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I think prior to ISB, I was working with Zomato for a while. So I come from the startup industry, you know, uh, and I was in the sales and marketing role back then. And then for me, an MBA was sort of an obvious choice because I think reasons are very relative for everybody, they're very subjective for everyone.
Yeah.
For me, I wanted to also move to a different role in a different function in a different
Right.
industry. That's something I realized because I worked with Zomato for about 3 years,
Right.
and you know I could map my way out. So and ISB, because everybody was talking about why ISB was their choice. For me, within India, I just selected ISB just because of
Okay.
the structure of their program.
Okay.
So, and one of my aims was to get into a top 25 world school, which ISB is and was at that time. So, within India, for me, that was the obvious choice. Coming to my GMAT prep, I think for me, I don't have a conventional, I'm not a gem that everybody talks about. I come from a arts background. I was a political science student in my undergrad. So,
Okay.
for me, I did everything possible just to, learn about the tricks and, of GMAT, what they are. Uh,
Right.
for because there's always this people always have this that it's easier for engineers, it's easier for CAs, GMAT they'll crack. So for me, when I started off, I did everything possible. I did Manhattan, I did Veritas, I did MBA test, I did I think there was Kaplan. Did whatever was available, I would do everything. That was my first attempt, which and I got a really horrible score then. So getting it structured, resources that really helped me were definitely Manhattan and a lot of mock tests, but I would also recommend not doing a lot more. Like, keep it minimum and start doing it when you think you're ready. You shouldn't do it while you're already studying. You've cleared 3 concepts out of 6 and you're like, I'm 50% there, let me give mock test and see where I am. That's not how it works. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
So, and something that I really exploited was GMAT Club,
Right.
because you get a lot of resources there. The forum is pretty active, or at least it was active back then.
Okay.
So that's something that I would keep. I would have those bookmarks on my laptop, and I would just keep going to one every single day. Uh, but at the same time, I would take a break as well. So on
Yeah.
Sundays, it was a no study day. You
Okay.
take that time off, you do what you like to do, because that really keeps
Okay.
you alive, so to say.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. And I got a pretty good score. I scored a 710, which I was very happy with. So definitely not a 714. 710
Yeah.
worked for me, guys. So
Okay. Yeah. Great.
I was
Yeah.
satisfied. So I think a structure is very important.
Mm,
It's very
mm.
subjective for everybody, but we need to figure that out for
Right.
anybody
Right.
who's trying to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anirudh.
Firstly, thank you for conducting this. It has been an honor to be a part of such discussion. So like Daksh, I was also working with IMS before I joined ISB. So to give a quick background about me, I did a very unique course that goes by the name of engineering. So I graduated in 2015,
Yeah.
and straight after that, I went into education. I mean, I always knew that my calling was towards teaching, towards guiding students. So straight after that, I went into the education space. So since 2015, I have been in the education sector. I decided to do my MBA in 2021, that is last year. I gave my GMAT. I scored a 740. I To talk about the tips, one very important tip for every one of you out here is to understand the deadlines. I mean, when you are planning to apply, which round you are planning to apply. I mean, ISB has 3 rounds. So should I apply in round one? Should I apply in round two? Should I apply in round three? That clarity should be there. So I started with the vision that I'd be applying in round one, but for some XYZ reason, I was not able to complete my preparation. I was not able to complete my statement of purpose. So I had to postpone it to round two, right? So December 5th was the deadline for me. I'll just take 2 minutes over here, Kalyan.
Yeah.
So December 5th was the deadline for me for the second round, right? Now, what I did was I always work in a reverse manner. So I know that 5th December is the deadline for me. So the worst to worst, I can give my GMAT on 4th of December. Because 5th December being a Sunday, you cannot take your GMAT on a Sunday at a proctored center. So the worst comes to worst, I'll have to give my GMAT on 4th of December. I'm a pessimistic kind of person. So I knew that if I give my GMAT on 4th of December and it doesn't go well, I'll have to shift my motivation to the third round. So yes, 4th December was the hard deadline that I set for me. And 16 days before it, that is somewhere around 18th of November, I decided to book my GMAT date. In case I do not do well in my first attempt, I have that cushion of attempting GMAT once again on 4th of December. So it actually worked for me because on 18th of December, I gave my GMAT and I got a score of 670. I was shocked, to be honest, because in my mocks, I was doing very, very well. But on the D-Day, I got a 670. So came home, booked the date of 4th December, and then got a 740 and then applied to ISB on 5th of December. So my one very important tip for everyone over here would be to check your deadlines as to what would be the last day to apply, when can I give my GMAT, what should be the spacing between the 2 GMAT that I plan to take. Now, talking about my preparation, I started my preparation on 1st of July. I know the date very, very well. Because I thought that I'll be able to complete the entire preparation in 2 months. So yes, more or less I was able to complete. But one important thing that everyone should know over here is you should not start your preparation on 1st of July. The reason I'm telling this is I was a quant trainer, so I did not have to study quant. On my GMAT day, I had 20 minutes to spare for my quant section. So yes, this is not something I would recommend everybody. The right time to start would obviously be now. So the sooner you start, the better it would be. How did I plan my studies?
Anirudh, we will be taking those questions in parts. Yeah.
Perfect,
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Let's now get into what about the PIs? So, how exactly you guys prepare for PI? What exactly is ISB looking for when you go for a personal interview? What is it that what are the kind of questions that they're asking? So you guys can and maybe one tip each. So we can start from Daksh, then Ashish, then Tushar, and then Anirudh and Ritika. Daksh.
Right. So Kalyani, I in fact give this tip to many people who reach out to me for ISB selection process. And just to add, I've also worked as the admissions coordinator at ISB in the past 1 year for PGP candidates. So I'm very closely associated. I've been very closely associated with. What I would suggest everyone out there for PI preparation, there's this one question that you need to really answer really well, because this is where the alumni who are sitting on the panel would probably get into, is why do you need an MBA? How will it help you from getting from point A where you are to point B? What is that gap in your current profile, in your current career? Where do you want to reach, and how will MBA from ISB will fill that gap? So if they can convince, and they will try hard to convince you otherwise, that you don't need an MBA. So for example, if in my case I told them that I want to enter the edtech sector because I've been working with IMS, they said you can do it right now. Why do you need an MBA? So I had to convince them otherwise that there are certain skills which I am currently lacking, which ISB will fill for me, and that's how that bridge will be, that gap will be bridged for me. So if you have that story sorted for yourself really well, the interview has to go well in most respects.
Yeah, okay, well said. Yeah, Ashish.
Yeah, firstly, I would say try to find someone who's an ISB alum in your network to just and conduct a few mock interviews, right? Practice always helps. And secondly, don't give them answers that you think they want to hear. Just be authentic and they'll appreciate that, because that sets you apart from the crowd. So that's about it.
Yeah. Okay. Tushar.
Similar to what Daksh said, clarity of goal is very important. And the second part is, so you, whatever you mention in the application, you need to know it inside out, because they will grill you on it. So for me, my interview was with alums, and it was extremely conversational, but I could tell that, they were pushing to, like, try and get out some more details of what I mentioned in my application.
All right. Okay. So be thorough with whatever you are filling in that form. Yeah. Anirudh.
Yeah, so adding to what Tushar said, I absolutely agree that you should know your statement of purpose. I mean, you will be submitting a statement of purpose, so you should know each and every word that you have written and why you have written it. And yes, the same thing happened with me as well, as happened with Daksh. So surprisingly, the panelist who was taking my interview knew the founder of an academy. So
okay.
I told him that I want to work in the edtech space. So he told me that, okay, I can connect you with Gaurav Munjal straight away, and you start working for an academy. So yes, they'll definitely try to discourage you from doing an MBA. You need to make sure that you have your facts straight, you have your reasons straight, you have it in place as to why you want to do an MBA. That's the most important thing around which your entire interview is going to revolve. It is not like the IIM interviews where they'll be asking about, let's say, what's happening around the world. It's entirely about, and it's a very conversational discussion that happens over there.
Okay. Yeah, Ritika.
So for me, so first the interview process, right? I think everybody's heard this, that it's pretty easier than the IIM interviews, because IIM, everybody's asking about what's going on in the world. It's all about current affairs. They'll give you those stress interviews where they'll tell you, talk about this in a minute or and somehow ISB interviews are always compared to those interviews, and they say ISB is pretty chill, it's pretty easy because it's conversational, and it's what we don't understand is when when that conversation is happening, that person is really going deep into everything that you have written on your essays. They are going they're actually noticing whether the personality that you showed on the essays to them is actually the one that's sitting here. So like everybody said, they will grill you on your whatever you've written on your essay. And one of the always, I mean, the topic is, why do you want to do an MBA? So as long as you're honest, and that's something that you've put down on the essay, and because if you're honest, then that's something that you'll also say. So it just helps. So I think my personal takeaway from that interview was, you have to be honest. If you're not, I had a three panel, I had a the panel was consisted of three people. One was a professor and two were alums. One was a comparatively recent alum and one was a really senior alum. And I remember they were just talking about, fixated on one thing. You're a political science student, you've studied that in undergrad. How can I justify you getting into ISB doing an MBA? What are you bringing to the table for me? What are you bringing to the school? Because that's a very honest curiosity that everybody will have, that what can I do at the end of the day. So that took a considerable time for of my interview. But also at the same time, I would say from my interview experience, if at all you think that you're losing track, and you're honest about it, that give me a minute, I'll just let me reframe my thoughts and let me put it out there, uh, that's okay. Just be honest. Be what you are as a person. Don't try to don't try to be Steve Jobs if you're not one.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right. So, okay, tell me who all were preparing for CAT while also thinking about ISB. So let me see GMAT and all that. Who all? Tushar, were you preparing for CAT at all? No.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had been
Okay.
preparing for CAT,
Okay.
and
So does that change the way you prepare, the way you approach GMAT? I mean,
so there is this myth that
mm,
GMAT is easier, but
yeah.
I feel that's not the case because GMAT requires a completely different approach.
Mm,
The test is adaptive. In CAT, like you can skim through all the questions and then choose which ones you want to attempt, or like
right.
you can manage your time better.
Mm.
But that's not the case with GMAT. So you have to like work on every question as it comes. As far as the prep is concerned, so quant. So if quant was relatively easier for me. I didn't score all that well, but I felt that
Maybe because you were already preparing for CAT, so obviously,
yeah,
quant was kind of, already taken care of. What?
yes,
Yeah, so
that's right.
that's what because our audience today, they're also CAT prep, they're also going to take CAT. Some of them are going to be sitting also for GMAT. I mean, they need to know exactly what's there for them. So on both. So yeah, so if you could just tell me that bit, as in, if you're preparing for CAT, how much of GMAT can be prepared through that?
If we talk about quant, most of the questions were pretty, but about 33% of that section is DS, which
Okay.
CAT doesn't prepare you for. Like, you can know all the concepts, but the questions are framed such that, they want you to pick the wrong one.
Okay.
And there's that.
Okay.
As far as verbal is concerned, I was just like using just the official material. I believe that was one thing that is very important. You can refer to third party sources, but those are not the kind of questions you will see in the test.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I think this is like the most important way
Right.
to prepare for the verbal section. Other
Okay.
than that, just read a lot because the passages can be somewhat tricky, especially if it's outside your area of expertise or like interests. And
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So let's take a few questions before we move to the next section, which is all about academics. Okay. There is a question about should anyone with only 2 years of work experience join ISB for 1 year PGP program? Who would like to answer? Daksh, you would like to answer, or Ashish, you would like to answer? Yeah, Daksh, you can go.
Yeah, Daksh, you can go first. I'll go after you.
Yeah, sure. And Ashish, please, and you guys, please pitch in whatever you guys want to add. Yeah, Daksh.
So Kalyani, I feel it's perfectly all right to consider ISB as your option, even with 2 years or even lesser experience. They have multiple entry routes. So there's an entry option called YLP, which is Young Leaders Program for someone with less than 2 years of work experience. And if you have more than 2 years, you can apply through the normal PGP route. At ISB, we have, as you know, as has already been discussed a lot, we have diversity in terms of age, work experience across the board. So we have people with right from 2 years to 20 years of work experience. So the kind of diversity that you can get at ISB is probably unparalleled anywhere else in India. For the same reason that there's a lot of emphasis on bringing diverse candidates here. So on the other hand, since it's a 1 year MBA program, some people, the people who are younger might feel that I'm better off in a 2 year MBA course. I would want to spend more time at B school. So I would say that this is a very personal, a question that you have to answer for yourself. So you list down all the merits and demerits of a 1 year MBA and a 2 year MBA and ISB versus the IIMs and other B schools. So it's a very personal question, but probably reaching out to a couple of alums from every B school that you're considering might help.
Okay.
That's
Ashish,
my
you
two
want to
cents.
add anything? Ashish, you want to add anything?
No, firstly, I just want to say I'm probably the least appropriate person to answer this question because I've got 8 years of experience.
Yeah.
But I think what I would say is at ISB, you'll find people with a broad spectrum of experience, all the way from 2 years to someone like me, maybe, someone with more experience than that also, right? So it depends upon whether you value that versus maybe a 2-year option where you kind of have more time at it. And you have the option of an internship too. So it's very personal. It depends, right? You'll have to introspect.
But is it compulsory for you to have a work experience to get into ISB? Is it?
So I'm not. So I don't think it is. So if I'm correct for the YLP option,
yeah, Anirudh, Tushar, you guys can also say.
So
is it?
Yeah, it is. It is compulsory.
Yeah. Ritika, go on.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. So I think for the YLP program, you can apply to it when you're in your undergrad.
Of course,
but for that, you require minimum 18 months of work experience at least. So that gives you a spot in ISB in advance, but you'll still have to, get some work experience. So. And a prerequisite for normal candidates who are just applying is minimum 2 months or 2 years of work ex.
Okay. How important it is to work at a particular brand or a MNC before joining ISB, and then does that work experience that you've had before applying or pursuing MBA at ISB, does that affect your placements? Yeah, Ritika, you can answer. You all can answer actually. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I would say work experience is a good thing to have. I love what the requirement that ISB has. Not important for you to work in a brand or an MNC as such. The work that you do should be relevant. I think that's something that I would say, at least for yourself. Like for me, if I don't have a learning curve in my personal or professional life, I'm not happy with it. So as a personal growth, you want that whatever you're working for, it gives you a learning curve. But I would still say working in a brand or an MNC is not that important. I joined Zomato back in 2015, and we were working out of really one room kitchen sort of an apartment in Bombay. The Bombay office was that small, so it was not that big a brand back then. Also, so that's one. But I would say having work experience and is important because it really helps you participate in discussions. How Daksh said, there's a diverse group of people. You have people who have 2 years of work ex. There are people who are coming with 20 years of work ex. During my time at ISB, I had one of my classmates, Colonel, we used to call him. He was working in the army for 20 years. And then he joined ISB. So the kind of experience, the kind of inputs that he would probably give during your class discussions or your class assignments, because most of the assignments are group, so you would want to be able to understand it. You would want to be able to give your inputs as well. So definitely, I think I like the structure that ISB has, where you have minimum years of work ex of 2 years to get in, because you come with an understanding of what the corporate world means for you and whether or not you want to do that in the future. So that's
okay. The next
about
is
placement. Yeah, sure.
Sure. Yeah, you can add.
I would say during your placement season, if you think that whatever you worked before is going to affect, it doesn't. I think the more effect it will have is the function that you're doing, but the industry, it's easier to I always say this to people whoever asks me. It's always easier to switch your industry during your placements if you're getting an MBA done. Difficult to change your function. So
great. Yeah, thanks. How does taking a break from one's current job to study and focus better on the studies is perceived during the application process or the PI? I have about 4 years of work experience in automotive industry. Ashish, would you like to answer? Or Daksh would like to answer?
Maybe
I was actually
Ashish, you can start, and then Daksh.
Sorry, because I actually did take like a 2-month break to pursue my GMAT and stuff.
This
one. I think it's perfectly fine. You're investing in your future, and if you do get the option to do that from your company, definitely take it up. You're investing in yourself. It's your career. You'll gain a lot from it. It's a simple answer, really.
Right. Daksh, you want to add something?
Yeah, again, break is a very, individual specific question. So you can see whether you need it or not. I didn't need it. I was able to do a little bit of preparation on a daily basis. Consistency is important. So and 2.5 months of preparation, at least for GRE for me, sufficed. But there was one point, to add to Ritika's reply on work experience. So I completely agree with her that brand is not important. Your quality of work experience is important. So what you need to show in your profile, in your experiences, the impact that you have made. So after you joined that organization, what was the impact that you brought out? What was the outcome of your efforts? So if you're able to put out that story well, no matter which brand, which company you work with, and there's also a misconception that you need to have some leadership managerial experience, that you should have been leading a team, which is not the case. It's all about the impact, the outcome that you have brought in. So that is the point that I wanted to add.
Okay. Yeah. So now let's move to the next section, which is all about academics. Oh, yeah. Sure, Tushar.
So he spoke of impact, and I think that's very important. So you need to be able to differentiate impact from your job or your role and duties, because that you're anyway expected to do. But impact is something like, over and above. So when you're applying, you need to figure that out. Like it will be helpful in securing it.
Okay. Anybody else would like to add, or I can move then to the next section? Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about academics now. Obviously, there's a lot about a lot of people think, okay, in 1 year, can we really complete everything? Is it very stressful? How do you really, pack everything that is usually in 2 years in 1 year? How's the stress, and how much of it really you can absorb in that 1 year? So let's first start with part of the questions. Two people can answer, and the other next question, 2 other people, because we have got like 5 people. So yeah, we need to cover all. So okay, Anirudh, you have not been to the campus yet. You'll be going in hopefully soon, right? So Anirudh, for you, I would like you to answer maybe a little bit about how your usually the daily routine is, how exactly what all you guys are doing on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, okay, Anirudh, you can start, then I'll ask the other questions. Yeah.
All right. So what happens is right now we are in our term 1, which has been divided into 2 parts. So the first term is actually a pretty, I would say, chill one, because we just have to study 3 subjects right now. And if we talk about our daily routine, or if we talk about our weekly routine, the lectures are only going to happen 4 days a week. So Monday to Thursday, that's it. That doesn't mean you can party on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Right.
To be ready for the next Monday to Thursday, you'll have to spend your time on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Apart from that, there are various sessions that keep on happening. I mean, there would be people coming from the industry who would be talking about their experiences, what they are doing right now.
Right.
So let's say if I want to get into consulting, what is consulting? If I want to get into product management, what is that? So people who have done their job in these fields, they come and give a talk. So yes, these are the sessions that add a lot of value.
But in an entire day, is the daily routine very stressful, very hectic?
Right now, I would say no, but yes, from
because of it's being online and all, or is it because it's term 1?
Yes, more or less it is because it is term 1 right now. From term 2, it is going to get hectic. But from the month of July, things are going to get pretty hectic for us. I'm sure my seniors would be better suited to talk about this.
Yeah.
But
okay.
yes,
So
things would be.
Yeah. So Daksh, Tushar, and Ashish, you guys you all are from PGP 2022. So you all can talk about how stressful and what all is being done in that 1 year, as in. You're choosing electives, how many subjects are you like just rushing between classrooms and subjects? What is it like, as in? So yeah, so Daksh, you can start, then Tushar, then Ashish. I mean, how exactly that 1 year is preparing you completely, and you don't feel that, okay, 1 year is gone and I did not even realize it. Yeah. So Daksh, you can start, then Tushar, then Ashish. Yeah.
So incidentally, only yesterday I was discussing this with my friends. We were coming back from Hyderabad campus. If anyone has been seeing the national media, PM Modi
Yes.
was here for our
Yeah.
graduation ceremony. So it's
Right.
a big moment for ISB, and ISB has also completed 20 years. So it was a ceremony. So we were on our way back. We were just talking about how the time after placements, that is January onwards, it has become so much more relaxed for us. The times that we had before placements, the first phase of ISB, was so much more different.
Okay.
So the whole journey of ISB is divided into 8 terms, and up to term 4, that is up till November or December,
Okay.
the core terms are there, which means that you have to take up core courses, compulsory courses.
Okay.
And that is the time when it is pretty hectic. I wouldn't lie about it. There are back-to-back assignments, exams, classes, and there is no fixed schedule for classes. So you will have to keep altering your sleep schedule basis the next terms of classes. And most of the work happens at night. So you're also busy with case competitions. You are taking part in ELP. There's a special project. There's a special offering at ISB called ELP, Experiential Learning Program.
Okay.
It's sort of a virtual internship. You work on a project for a company, so that pressure is also there.
Okay.
So all in all, the first phase of journey is very hectic, and right when the placement prep starts, when you're working on your resumes and you're reaching out to alums, it all comes down to you together. So you feel like needing an escape, needing a break at that time, but that's where you develop that resilience, that grit, to keep going. After the placement is done, of course, it's not that the academic pressure reduces. It's just that you take it a little more relaxed, because now you're placed, so you feel that, okay, now I am heading somewhere. I've achieved the objective I was here for. And also the fact that after term 4 you get to choose your own courses. So there may be certain courses that engineers don't like. There may be certain courses that chartered accountants don't like. So we take our subjects as per our preference term 5 onwards.
Okay.
So that also makes life better for us.
Okay.
So it's a mixed bag. Yeah, I won't say it remains completely hectic throughout, but yeah, there are phases. There are phases.
Okay. Tushar, can you talk about the clubs and committees? What are the kind of clubs and committees, and is it like a compulsory thing, if there are, that you have to be part of some group or the other?
There are clubs and committees for almost every industry function. And while it is compulsory, it depends on you how much time you want to give it.
Okay.
There will be guest sessions, events, and it's not expected of you that you participate in all of them, but they become relevant from a placement standpoint. And even just like, the quality of the events, you want to be there in the organizing team. So those are my 2 cents.
Okay. Yeah, Ashish, can you talk about like the faculty members and the classes? And also, I would like to ask all of you, if you guys have any one particular favorite class. Anirudh, I'm sure you still have time to realize which one is your favorite class and favorite faculty member. So Ashish, you can talk a little bit also about the classrooms, and like as in the how the courses are and who all are there and what exactly is going on. Yeah.
So faculty members, I think are world class in the sense they have a lot of industry experience themselves. They kind of consult companies too, right? So they bring that perspective into the classroom while choosing the cases and stuff like that. And what was your question? Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, do you have any favorites?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So I like strategy. So if you bring a case in front of me, I just love breaking it down. The questions I kind of ask in the classroom, the different perspectives kind of come out best when that comes about. So my favorite subject was competitive strategy.
Okay.
You get some really interesting cases. For instance, there's one on Southwest Airlines, which is an industry that I'm interested in, aviation.
Okay.
Everyone might have something different that they're interested in. There is something for everyone.
Okay.
And
is there any favorite professor?
I like Siddharth Sharma, who teaches competitive strategy, but everyone that's just because he forces you to it depends upon the kind of profession. Like that also kind of differs, right? But I have a bias for the subject.
Ritika, any favorite professor, any favorite class you've had?
Yeah. So I think for me, DMOP was one of my favorite classes, and it's a dreaded subject for everybody who's gone through it. Anirudh, good luck to you. But it's a dreaded subject, and it was made so easy by Professor Basambu.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys had the honor of being taught by him, but Professor Achal Basambu just made it I think a breeze. And it was so easy to understand because our alums were like, DMOP, you wait, term two, it's going to be crazy. It's a hell term. It's this, it's that. It was a breeze. And it's been almost 3 years since I have studied DMOP, but I still hold that memory very close. And it helped when I, was one of the toppers. So it helped. He's a
Tushar?
great.
Yeah. Tushar, any favorite class, favorite subject, professor?
So yeah, Siddharth Sharma was also one of my favorite profs here, and another strategy prof, Deepak Jaina. Even his style of having case discussions is something that I really appreciated.
Okay. Yeah, Daksh.
So we incidentally had a very good course to end the PGP with. There was this course by Professor Dora Swami Nand Kishore, and he was taking a CEO perspectives course for us. He's been a CEO of
That's a great
Nestle
course.
globally.
Nestle.
Absolutely, and and it has such a variety of discussions through the course. He talks on everything about life, career, health and whatnot. So it was a brilliant course to end PGP with.
Okay. Well, when do you guys usually get to select electives? Who's going to answer?
From term 4.
Term 5 onwards.
Yeah.
Term 4 you have 2 electives and 2 core subjects. So and then
So
then it's
Anirudh,
constant just elective.
you have not selected it yet. I mean, you will be
So I'll be selecting from term 4.
Okay. Anirudh, you can talk a little bit about, there's a question about, is GMAT the only preferable, as in, if you're taking GRE or GMAT, is it GMAT that they prefer, or is there any preference for that? If you can just answer that. Since you have you can't answer the other question right now. Yeah, about classes.
So there is no difference between any student who has given a GMAT or a student who has given GRE. They have this benchmark set that, this is the score that we are looking for. Now, one very interesting point that everybody was talking about is diversity. So if we talk about this year's admission, we have had students who have converted their calls at a score of 620. And we have had students who have been rejected at a score of 780. So yes, GMAT score is not the only thing which could matter. What matters is your overall profile. Now, I am not telling that if you get a 620, you'll be getting a call from ISB. The person who had got a 620 had a very, very beautiful profile. So talking about profile, yes, as Ritika mentioned, there are people from the defense industry. This year, we have got an ace shuttler with us, Ajay Jayaram. We have got an IPL player who has deferred his MBA this year, but people who follow KKR, they know that there's this player by the name of Pratham Singh. So he had been admitted this year. He would be joining next year. So yes, the profile diversity is there, and GMAT score is not the only thing that they look at. So talking about whether GMAT is the only examination, no, you can give GRE and get into it. Live example is Daksh sitting in front of you. It doesn't differentiate whether you have given GMAT or GRE. So yes, I hope that answers the question.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so straight up short answer, there is no internship option at ISB. It's a small, it's a smaller duration course, 1 year MBA. Long answer, something similar to internship is an ELP, which is experiential learning program.
Correct.
Yeah, so there are projects which are offered to ISB students. They can take it up as a project which they work on through the year. That also doesn't have much impact on placements. That is something that you do for your own learning, your own experience, and it also helps you. You can substitute it for one term as a, it can be substituted as a course, so you get grades for it. But placement wise, ISB has been a great experience because the process of placements, I would say, is about 3 to 4 months long. Some people probably might have it slightly longer or shorter depending on what kind of preparation they are doing. So like Ritika is a product manager, so someone who's aspiring for a product manager role, not coming from a tech background, may have to do a slightly longer preparation because they are preparing for a completely new role. For someone who's into consulting, who's aspiring for consulting, the MBBs, they have to focus much more on grades than anything else. So your grades have to be top notch if you're aspiring for the consulting companies. So the preparation, the placement prep itself is a brilliant experience. All in all, you learn a lot out of it at the end of it. I think within 2 weekends, we have day zero in January. We had our day zero in January, third weekend, and day one on fourth weekend. So within 2 weekends, the entire batch got placed from companies. And unlike other B schools in India, ISB has a separate office for placements. There is a staff of at least 30-35 members whose only job is to get the batch placed. And
the placements are what? As in for Mohali, so you were in the Mohali campus, but your placement interviews and all took place at Hyderabad.
Right. So what before the COVID, before the pandemic, it used to happen this way, that every year they used to alternate between the two campuses. So either Mohali guys were flown to Hyderabad one year, the other year vice versa.
But it's one
this year's
it's
so when it comes to placements, the whole batch is seen together. The 900 students are taken together as a batch. The recruiters are not even told which campus is the student from, so as to maintain the one school two campus policy. There should be no discrimination whatsoever, distinction whatsoever.
Okay. Yeah, Ashish, can you you did not go through the whole placement process, right? So how exactly did that work for you? As in, I'm sure there are many other attendees who would like to take that route. So yeah.
So honestly, I was just a bit lucky. I work at a edtech company called Emeritus that's growing really fast, and they were hiring at the time, and there was a great role available for me also. So it wasn't as if I felt I did not have to go through placements. I just got a bit lucky.
Okay.
How I spent my time, honestly, like Daksh said that post placements things got a bit more chill for him. Mine happened slightly earlier.
Yeah.
So that's just how it's been.
Yours were like from the first day itself, I think you were in a chill mode.
After the core terms are pretty intense. After that, it's fairly,
Okay. Yeah, Tushar, can you talk a little bit about your placement experience? As in, maybe if you can just roughly tell me a little bit about the kind of the kind of questions that they ask, or is there any particular kind of profile building tips that you can give maybe to our attendees?
So as far as placements is concerned,
and from your own experience, I want to know your story.
So at least for me, I was pretty anxious before placements, but everyone I spoke to, they said that just follow the process. ISB, it gives you enough opportunities. There are resume building workshops. There are sessions by clubs and committees that will help you prepare for the kind of roles that you are looking forward to. And that's one thing. And the kind of interview questions that get asked. So again, it depends on what kind of places you're applying to. So for example, if it's consulting, you will come across a lot of case-based questions, and there'll be guesstimates. So there is a scientific way to go about it. And if you get that right, if you are just if you're just focused on whatever the school is asking you to do, it is not that hard. What tends to happen is that people may focus on other things, other co-curricular activities, because there are right before placements, there are a lot of case comps and other things that are going on, and that kind of makes it more important how you manage your time.
Okay. Tell me, with most like all the IIMs, Now we have like some people summer intern, the summer internship is with a particular company, and then they also get placed like a PPO sort of a thing. So with that whole ELP, what you were talking about at ISB, do they have something like that okay, we are happy with your project even though it's on online thing?
That's not the case. So
No? Okay.
the
So no
purpose for
PPOs.
so
Okay.
say if you want to move to a new industry that you're not previously familiar with,
Right.
so ELP is a platform where
Okay.
you can get some exposure.
Okay.
And again, it may or may not be helpful from a placements perspective.
Okay.
I did not go through it,
Okay.
so I'm not in a good position to answer.
Okay. Daksh or Ritika, did you guys? No. Okay. So it was absolutely independent. So Ritika,
Yeah.
you can talk a bit about your shift and how exactly, from political science to you are now a product manager at AP Mola. So yeah, so how exactly, ISB kind of played that filled that gap for you,
Yeah. So
and from the
ISB
placement,
essentially,
yeah, from the
yeah,
placement point of view.
ISB essentially bridged that gap, I
Hmm.
would say,
Hmm.
because I did not land a product manager role right out of ISB. So
Okay.
during my placements, I was placed with Airtel
Okay.
as a program manager, not as
Okay.
product. So that's not something that I wanted,
Okay.
but it was a good role in a good industry. And like I said, changing your functions is difficult. And this was a step closer. So I think
Okay.
in ISB, you have the BTC club
Hmm.
that works towards these things. They conduct works during my time, at least they conducted
Hmm.
a lot of workshops. They
Okay.
conducted a lot of talks, and where you understand, for us back then the focus was product management.
Hmm.
So it
Hmm.
was, because that was the focus, that's something that we kept on building on.
Right.
uh, at the same time, when you meet people who are also aspiring to be product managers or who come from product manager roles,
Hmm. Hmm.
you essentially have those kind of discussions with them, and you understand
Okay.
what is the requirement.
Hmm.
Like everybody said, when you're if somebody is looking for consulting roles, they'll do a lot of case preps, they will do a lot of guesstimates, because that's something that is expected in a consulting interview,
Hmm.
apart from having amazingly high grades.
Okay.
But even in a product management role, if you're looking for one, you will have certain cases to do, which are very
Okay.
very different from your consulting cases that you do.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I come from a place where I didn't have those skills.
Hmm.
So ISB
Yeah.
was that platform for me where I could actually understand by talking to people, by
Hmm.
developing those networks through the BTC club. So it gave me that a very strong platform to build on.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Tushar and Anirudh, this question is for you guys. Okay, if someone has a call from one of the IIMs, and also ISB is also there on the plane, like then why would you choose ISB over another B school, another top B school? Who would like to
So,
answer? Yeah, Tushar.
again, it is very personal why one would
Yes.
choose ISB over a 2-year program.
Yeah.
Some people, they might see their final. It's their final
You
whatever.
chose, right? You had that
Yes,
question, right?
yes.
Yeah. So how
No,
exactly?
so ISB, it fit better for me because I had a consulting background,
Mm,
and again, I'm not an engineer or any of that. So I felt that it would add more value to
mm,
my profile.
yeah.
If I were to join a 2-year PGP course,
Mm,
it just so happens that almost 50 to 60% of the batch
okay.
are freshers,
Mm,
and I didn't see myself fitting in that kind of a cohort.
okay. Okay.
And that's one of the
Mm,
primary reasons why I
okay.
chose ISB. Second
Right.
is
Mm,
the alumni base.
mm,
That is something that I value a lot.
mm,
I also come from other premier institutions,
mm,
and uh, lucky enough to have access to that network.
okay.
So yeah,
Yeah.
those are.
Okay. Is there a exchange program opportunity at ISB? No. Ritika, Anirudh. Okay. Everybody's saying
Anirudh, you
yeah.
want to take?
Yeah. Who would like to? Yeah. Anirudh, you would like to take the question?
Yeah, so I think so. So what happens is we get bidding points for the entire year. So somewhere north of 4,500 is something the number. So 4,500 bidding points we get. So if we want to go for an exchange program, we'll have to bid for that, right? So last year, what I gauged from the seniors was it was a pretty random process because of the pandemic situation. So I'm not very much sure how the exchange program would work.
Ritika can probably answer. Yeah, Ritika.
Yeah, so first off, when you get these bidding points, I think everybody should keep in mind these bidding points are also for your electives. So the kind of courses that you'll bid for. So you have to be very careful with how many, you're bidding in the first go. And for the exchange program, you usually bid, if I remember correctly, starting in sometime in term 2. And how the exchange program works is, first of all, it's not compulsory, it's not for everybody to do it. You can choose to do it. Like I said, it's all basis the bidding points. You bid for colleges. They have this whole portal where you bid for colleges. I personally did not do it because I didn't want to do that. You don't get the college that you don't have a preference of a college. First of all, you basis your bid points, you get a college. So you can't choose. So you have, and the colleges span across the world. I had one friend of mine, she went to Wharton for 2 months. Unfortunately, that was just 1 month because she had to rush back because of COVID that happened, that started during my year. I had one friend who went to Japan for his exchange program, so to say. Usually these exchanges happen post your placements, so you can choose to do it. A lot of students also don't choose to do it because, like everybody said, post placements it becomes a little calmer, so you're able to enjoy with your friends. I'll share some pictures. Much more. So, and usually they happen in term 7 and term 8, right? So that's the time when you're leaving your B school, your home, your bubble. So that's one reason that people don't do it. You're going to miss your graduation. So but again, specific to the exchange program, you don't get to choose your colleges. It's all the bidding points that will it's all in your destiny, whatever college you get.
Okay, interesting. So Ritika, you can start with your photo sharing. Go to the next one now. Yeah, you can just
Yeah, this is from the Pride Parade. Guys who've been on the campus already must have experienced this. So we always have Pride Parades in ISB every year. So this is one memory from there. This is us doing assignments. This is my very first study group. And us are very close. We were the L5, and this is our study group. One of the first assignments we're doing. I think that was the marketing assignment. Yeah. This is from a celebration called IKEA. It's like a home away from home sort of a thing. So this is from there. All of us dressed up. This is the campus in monsoon, the Mohali campus.
This is Mohali.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. This is my ALC committee. I was part of the alumni affairs, in the GSB. So this is my team here. Yeah. This is the campus at night from my quad. So the Mohali skies are very beautiful. Guys who are part of the Mohali campus will say yes to that for sure. This is from the Navratri celebration that we had. This is from Diwali. All of us dressed up. This is right before placement, so I think a lot of us look a little stressed as well. So then this is the Christmas celebration at ISB again with my oldest study group. This is the campus in winter. You can hardly see anything. This is about 10 p.m. at night, I guess. Yeah. It gets really foggy in Mohali. This is after our placement trip, which was Bhutan. So this was a post-placement trip. Everybody does this in ISB. So all of us went to Bhutan. I think our batch, it was divided into Vietnam and Bhutan. So we went to
So
Bhutan.
2022, you guys, what did you guys do? 2022 batch. Ashish, Tushar, you guys didn't go?
So I was a part of a group that went to Goa. After placements, and pretty much half of the batch ends up in Goa, and
Okay.
Actually, more than half, a lot more than half.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah.
So I picked up a new
We
sport in
jokingly used to
ISB. I
say,
learned how to play
Mm.
TT. Oh, so sorry. Please go
Somebody
on.
is saying something. What?
no, I was just adding to Tushar's point that
Yeah.
after placements, there is ISB Hyderabad, Mohali, and ISB in Goa. So
Okay,
there's a
yeah.
third campus in a way.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Okay. So Anirudh,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I
you're going to have all this very soon. Of course, you'll be at the Hyderabad campus. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, this is from
Yeah.
Holi, the
Okay.
last celebration, and then we were asked to leave. So this is us
Okay.
packing. We were given 48 hours to
Okay.
pack up and leave. So this is how
Okay.
messy my room is, Kalyani, now.
Yeah.
So this is me packing and figuring shit out. This is us playing TT here because they just blocked everything for us. So we just this is the living room of the quad, by the
Okay.
way. So
Okay.
we made us mock table with a
Yeah.
mock net, and we are all of us were just playing TT here. So this
Hmm.
is us,
Hmm.
and this is farewells.
Yeah.
Everybody leaving just like that. This
Right.
is me. Yeah, and this is from my graduation that happened actually this year in April. 2 years later, we got our convocation. So
Okay.
this is from there.
Yeah.
We finally had our convocation. We didn't have that so earlier.
Hmm.
So yeah, this is the last
Yeah.
picture. That's it.
Yeah. So I guess 2022 guys will be having their convocation tomorrow, day after, right? Monday. Yeah. So yeah, Daksh, do you have any photos?
Yeah, I think I'll quickly share them.
Quickly, yeah, so that we can, yeah.
People might find it very similar to Ritika's
Okay,
because
okay, because
I'm
of the
I'm also from the
campus.
Mohali campus. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
No, so maybe you can just share the people photos. Oh
Right,
wow, this
right.
is very nice. Wow,
So
this is
This
very
is
so
nice.
this
beautiful.
is our atrium in Mohali campus, and
Nice.
the picture represents
Mm.
section I. We are all section I students.
Okay.
This is our lecture theater, the classroom.
Mm.
Very modern.
Mm.
I was
Yeah.
part of a play, and I'm dressed up as Gabbar. It doesn't look like so, but we had a great run.
Okay.
People laughed their hearts out.
Yeah, yeah.
This is Sholay cast.
Okay. Yeah.
This is our Diwali celebration. I think the
Mm.
most lit event,
Okay.
literally, is Diwali. It
Okay.
was very beautifully decorated, the
Mm.
campus.
Mm.
This is what we call the hub. This is where a lot of
Yeah.
gatherings happen.
Mm.
This is the
I
REC
miss
swimming pool.
this.
REC as
Nice.
in recreation center.
Mm. Mm.
This is our basketball court and the football ground.
Okay.
Looks seen
Yeah,
partially,
yeah,
and this is
yeah.
the view from my studio. So I
Huh.
was staying in a studio apartment, 1
Oh,
BHK, by
okay.
myself. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
this
So
this
you
is
can
was the
also
one
do that. So
advantage.
you don't have to stay within the campus.
No, this is
Okay,
within
this
the
is within
campus
the
itself.
campus. Okay.
Yeah, there are accommodation types.
Oh,
So
wow.
there are
It's a
quads in which you can
very,
share with three
yeah,
others.
very luxurious life ISB has. Unlike,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
our other B
We
schools.
call it resort life,
Yeah.
resort life of
Yeah.
Anya. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is a beautiful decoration for one
Very
of the
nice.
events. So we have this alumni reunion event called Equinox. It happens every
Okay.
year.
Okay.
So the whole campus is decked up, and like 400, 500 alums from
Nice.
various batches come together and have a
Very
good
nice.
time here.
Yeah,
So
very
these are
nice.
some pictures that I want to share.
Cool. All right, we are almost towards the end, and we just need to answer a few more questions, just like maybe 2 or 3 questions. Okay, one is, of course, if okay, Ashish can take this one. This is what exactly right now. See, anybody who is thinking they're not sure that ISB is what they will be going for, or whether they are going to be selected for that or not. So, and obviously, they need to keep their options open, right? All the other B schools. So what do you think, should be your one suggestion to those MBA aspirants, that should we also prepare for CAT and GMAT together? How do we do that? I mean, is there any, any tips for them? How do they do this? How do they plan it out?
I think, at least personally, I created a bit of a short list of schools that kind of suited me. So for me, the criteria was a one-year program, could be here, could be abroad, but I preferred to come back. So ISB was my first choice. So just keep some backups. And it's relative to every single person, right? But when you're selecting schools, also speak to alum from that school. They'll be very happy to answer your questions, irrespective of the school, I feel, including ISB. Get that perspective and see if it suits you and choose your schools accordingly.
Okay. Somebody is asking GRE cutoff. What's the GRE cutoff for ISB? Daksh? You have any idea?
No cutoff as such, and it depends on your profile. But the average, I think you could say a good score, 325, 326 is considered a decent range.
Okay. Ritika, this one is for you. How exactly do you think, what would be your suggestion for our MBA aspirants for ISB, as in to prepare for ISB? What should they be doing right now? So that, they can ace the interview and everything. Is there anything pertaining to profile building per se? Yeah.
So, like I said, right, whatever work you're doing, don't go crazy that I want to work in a brand, I want to work in an MNC. The work is what is important. What impact are you bringing to the job that you're doing, and how is it helping you as well? Is your learning curve, growing? Is it not? So I think when it comes to profile building, have that. GMAT obviously important, but don't look at it as something like I have to score above 710 or above 720 to get in. That's not. It's a part of your profile. So that's not a deciding factor ever. I was part of the admissions committee when I was there as well. So we did evaluate a lot of profiles, and that's not the first criteria that anybody looks at the end of the day. So yeah. For me, my advice to everybody would be, if ISB is your choice, uh, ensure that while you're prepping for your score, all academics are in order. As a person, you are also growing. You have to look at a holistic development, because that's what ISB, your interviews and your application is going to reflect at the end of the day. So that's something that people should work on.
Okay. Tushar, can you tell us, if somebody is preparing for CAT as well as for GMAT, how do they manage their time?
So I I did it in a very wrong way. If I may say so.
You can tell them the right way.
So exactly. So I was preparing for CAT, and so what I did was, I would prepare for CAT till November, December. That's when all these entrances would happen. And then about 3 months later, I took the GMAT. And my first attempt wasn't that great. I got a 640. So then again, I gave it another shot. By this time, I was fairly familiar with the material, and I was actually beginning to enjoy, because it's just the fact that it's an adaptive test. It becomes like a game, and you just have to keep getting better. At least that's how I looked at it. So that's that. And preparing together, I don't think it's that big a challenge. Because there are a lot of common aspects, like RC being one. It's there on CAT and GMAT too, and both are equally important. The prep is quite similar. But some things like, sentence correction, that is very unique to GMAT. That would require some more effort. It can be done, but again, you have to be able to manage your time and schedule your test in such a manner that it fits.
Anirudh, can you give maybe 2 tips for preparation, test preparation, overall test preparation, and maybe ISB test preparation?
All right. So on the top of the mind, the first and most important thing is, do not waste your official mocks. There are 6 mocks that are given by MBA.com, and they are the closest to the actual GMAT. So you should be giving those mocks only and only if you are 100% ready. As Ritika mentioned, that just because you are 50% ready, you cannot go for dekh lete kitna score aa raha. Till the time you are not 100% ready, do not touch any of those mocks. That would be tip number 1. Tip number 2 would be, just stick to the official guide. I mean, there are 1,000+ questions questions over there. There are 1,000 plus questions for the verbal section. One thing that Tushar mentioned was that all the 3 sections are equally important in the sentence correction. So there would be roughly 12 questions on RC, 12 questions on critical reasoning, 12 questions on sentence correction.
Right.
So yes, unlike CAT, where majority of the weightage is given to the RC, for GMAT, you will have to manage all the 3 sections accordingly. So make sure that you are not just putting all your eggs in one basket where you are preparing only for RC. Okay. It might work in CAT. It is definitely not going to work in GMAT.
Okay.
So yes, those would be my 2 tips.
Yeah.
Use the official mocks very, very productively, and solve only the official guide questions. There are a lot of them. You won't have the time to look at some other material.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Can you summarize the entire admission process in very briefly at ISB?
Yeah. Step 1, it starts with first looking at the timeline, looking at the deadlines. So there is round 1 deadline somewhere in August. So I would suggest you work backwards from it. That if I want to, and I always tell this, the sooner you apply, the better. You have more seats available for you. So round 1 is ideally what you should target, or round 2. So step 1 is to look at the deadline, then work backwards. So as Anirudh mentioned, that you need a good amount of time for your GMAT prep, and also factor in that you might need re-attempts at GMAT. So at least like 5-6 months back, you should start your journey. So 2 to 3 months can be devoted to GMAT or GRE preparation. The next step is step 2 is to start building your application, writing your essays, building your profile, talking to the consultants if you need that. Step 3 is, if you get an interview call basis your submission, you will be called for a personal interview with the panelists, who will be ISB alums. In most cases. So if you clear that interview stage, then you get a final admit call. Allocation to Mohali or Hyderabad is not in your discretion. It is the discretion of ISB. You can give your preference, but someone asked it in the chat, so I'd like to point this out.
Yeah,
and this has been one of my objectives as admissions coordinator also, that there is low awareness about the Mohali campus. But let me tell you guys very straight that there is absolutely no difference in terms of learning experience placements at Mohali or Hyderabad. There's nothing like a secondary campus, main campus. It's one school, 2 campuses. So whether you're assigned to Mohali or Hyderabad, you are definitely going to have a great jumpstart in your career ahead.
So that's all we have time for today. So before we wrap up, I would like to thank all our attendees. All of you attendees, you can also find all the speakers on LinkedIn, and you can, if you have some particular questions, you can also write it to me and I'll forward it to the speakers and they'll be happy to answer. So before we wrap up, I would like to thank Daksh Mitra, Tushar Mohan, Anirudh Murarka, Ashish Mala, and Ritika Zatakia. It has been lovely having you guys here for this session. Thank you so much.